Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of Cabinet on Thursday, the 20th of April, 2023. I'll start with the apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Leader. I have apologies from David Hopkins.
I've also got apologies from Councillor Robert Francis Davis. Are there any other apologies for today? No? Also, Councillor Alison Pugh. She's hoping to join the meeting a little later on, but we'll record her apologies just in case she's unable to. We'll go on then to disclosures of personal and prejudicial interests. I'll take those now. Councillor King.
Thank you, Leader. Item 7, local authority government appointments, personal and prejudicial interest as Chair of Governors at Cadleigh Primary School.
Thank you very much. Councillor Smith. Okay, thank you. I'd also draw members' attention to the leisure services report where members may be mentioned on those outside bodies. Yeah,
thank you, Leader. Yeah, personal interest in item 11 as a director of the National Waterfront Museum.
Thank you.
Same personal interest, director of the Wales National Pool.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, any others? If not, we'll go on to the minutes of the previous meetings. I've not had any requests for amendments, so I'm happy to move them as a true record. They're on pages 1 to 7 of the agenda. Could I have a seconder, please?
A second.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lewis. Are we all in agreement for the minutes? Okay, thank you very much. Announcements of Leader of the Council. Well, I have one today. It's been quite an interesting week in terms of social media, as people will have observed. And again, we will, as we've said, try to continue to support our communities in recovering from COVID and also trying to deal with the cost of living crisis. We've also been hugely supportive and active in trying to sustain our city centre and to support businesses and visitors to our city centre. Clearly, we didn't get it quite right on the car parking implementation this week, but we have moved very quickly as a council and as a group of politicians to bring forward a number of planned promotions to try and ensure that the car parking charges that we have to levy for car parks in the city centre and elsewhere as part of the overall operations of the council are fair and reasonable, and hopefully those promotions for both workers and for shoppers and visitors will be something that will be of benefit in supporting people who work or come to enjoy our beautiful city centre. Just to say, that is done in the context of all of the COVID support that we've had from UK and Welsh Government over the last 2 or 3 years completely disappearing, because the COVID support, which has enabled us to either eliminate fees for many things or to reduce them, has now ended, and Swansea Council, like all councils, is dealing with the consequences of now having to return to normality. However, I'm very proud of the work that was done by Cabinet and by officers to bring forward those promotions, which we will continue to work with BID and other partners to see how we can best support the growth of our city centre. I'll move then to public question time next. Are there any questions from members of the public that have been submitted? No. Okay. On to councillor question time. Are there any councillor questions that have been submitted? No. Okay. So we'll move then to item 7, which is local authority governor appointments. Councillor Smith.
Yes, thank you, Leader. Happy to move the report and thank the 2 people that have come forward as potential governors.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy to second Councillor Smith. Any comments or questions for Councillor Smith on the report? If not, could I ask you all, Mr. Evans, if you can launch the vote?
Thank you, Leader. The vote has been launched. Has anybody been unable to vote electronically? You can tell me verbally now. Councillor Cyril Anderson? 4. 4. Any others?
Yeah, I do not believe my vote has gone through, so
You all, yeah. I've only had 4 so do you want to do, does everyone to vote? So does everyone vote by show of hands, because only 4 have
Yeah.
come through.
If you could raise your real or virtual hands, please. Thank you.
Okay, that's unanimous 4 then.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. Okay, Councillor King, just wait for Councillor King to return. Okay, we will next move to the report on the Workforce and Organisational Transformation Programme. I will take this item in Councillor Hopkins' absence. So the report before you represents a workforce and OD transformation programme to deliver the key transformational projects contained within our workforce strategy, which was approved in October 2022. It outlines the initial projects that have been identified for the next 2 years that will support the overall transformation aspirations of the corporate plan. The chosen projects have been selected against 3 types of transformation: cultural, systems and structural. These projects are transformational, address a service gap, mitigate corporate risks and/or deliver the savings within our medium-term financial plan. There is a transformational project linked to each of the 4 key themes within the workforce strategy, ensuring coverage across all of the council's strategic aims. The leadership and management project focuses on the 2 key areas of work: developing our cultural workforce and enabling growth of leadership and management skills. We're seeking to foster a culture of inclusion and empowerment where leadership behaviours are welcomed throughout levels throughout the organisation and not just through the traditional hierarchy. This will help us achieve the Council's wide, high-quality, skilled leadership aims in responding to future change and challenge. The Workforce Fit for the Future project involves the transformation of both the service and the HR and organisational design teams. The structure needed to deliver that service if it's to achieve the 43 objectives which are contained within the workforce strategy. Specifically, the project will establish a business partnering model, creating effective change agents for the service areas and enabling and facilitating organisational change to take place throughout the workforce. We're aspiring to recruit and retain the right quantity and quality of employees that we need to support the council in its future, delivering a positive recruitment experience for applicants and hiring managers. The Employer of Choice project is to implement Oracle Fusion's recruitment platform. This would fully integrate the employee lifecycle process from application through to termination and reduce reliance on manual processing activity, thereby delivering timelier recruitment journeys, which provides a more modern user experience for our customers. Finally, the Employee Wellbeing and Inclusion project will seek to understand the cultural transformation that might be required with regards to our management of absence approach. A fundamental review of how this area is managed will enable a fresh thinking about the best ways to support our workforce whilst ensuring optimum staffing levels in services. We need to have a sustainable occupational health provision that is targeted towards the right workforce groups in an effective and efficient way. The programme requires funding, as you'll see in the report, of 391,000 from the Council's restructure reserve in order to support the identified savings of 450,000 through transforming the way we work. And I therefore move the recommendations on page 13 of the report. Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Leader. I'm very happy to second this report. As you will see with other reports on the agenda, this interlinks and interfaces nicely with other strategies, including the service transformation strategy and also the digital transformation strategy. So very happy to second and very much welcome this in our new modern ways of working moving forward post-COVID.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Anybody else wish to make any comments? Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I think I really welcome the report, and particularly looking at the strategy around protected characteristics and how we approach that. I think what stood out for me in the report is that often we don't know about people's protected characteristics because they don't declare it. But I know there's strong piece of work being led by the Strategic Equalities Board and head of HR, looking at how we can improve that and encourage our staff, particularly now with the new Oracle Fusion coming online, how we can encourage staff to tell us around those things and have the benefits. So I'm really hoping that the strategy will also help to improve that as well.
Absolutely agree, Councillor King. And thank you for those comments. Are there any other colleagues who would like to comment? If not, Mr. Evans, shall we try the vote again?
Thank you, Leader. The vote has been launched. And has any? Oh, you've all been able to vote. Thank you very much. That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. We'll move then to item 9, which is the digital strategy 23 to 28 and the transformation programme. Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Leader. So Cabinet approved the digital strategy in principle in November last year, but that was subject to public consultation. So as a council, we asked for input from various community groups and our partners. Also, a survey was undertaken both online and in paper format, which went out to our libraries and civic centre reception. And we received feedback from a broad demographic of respondents. The majority of respondents agreed with the vision and the goals articulated in the strategy, but one piece of specific feedback requested clearer support for older people accessing digital services, which I'm pleased to say we've now incorporated. It's important that we note that this is a roadmap for digital. It's not advocating a digital-only approach. Face-to-face and telephone channels will continue to support residents and will provide wraparound support for those residents using digital channels. Since November Cabinet, we've established a digital transformation board, which comprises of representatives from across the different directorates. Welsh Audit Office also attend that board. A digital transformation programme has been developed to deliver the digital strategy goals over the next 5 years. And this supports and works towards successful and sustainable Swansea board as well. An overarching business case is included, which has been informed by individual project submissions across the council, and the project will deliver significant improvements for residents accessing and using council services and bring operational improvements internally for services as well. In some cases, the project also significantly reduce risks on our risk register and will deliver savings in the medium-term financial plan. In order to take forward the initial tranche of projects, the report requests an investment of just over 2 million. Many of the projects, I must stress, we're still assessing the market. Therefore, this is an estimated cost. Should final costs change significantly, the programme of projects will be adjusted rather than requesting additional investment. And with regards to Section 5 and the financial implications, after consulting with the Director of Finance, it's proposed the request for 2 million investment is funded from the balance of the restructuring reserve. However, the final balance on that reserve will not be known until the end of this year. Therefore, the project list may need to be adjusted accordingly should the reserve need to be scaled back in any way. So I'm happy to take any questions. But I'm proud to bring this report here today because it's perfectly right and proper that we modernise as an organisation and we make those digital paths for the public to contact us as accessibly as possible and make it easier and better in terms of better improved customer service. So happy to take any questions, Leader.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Lewis, and thank you for bringing the report. Very happy to second. And as you say, whilst its aim is to make our digital offering as good and accessible as possible, it doesn't mean that we then discontinue the other channels so that we have that inclusion for those who are unable to use digital as a form of engaging with us. Okay, so the recommendations on page 66 have been moved and seconded. Are there any comments any members would like to make? Councillor Gwilym.
Thank you, Leader. I just wanted to comment and thank the team actually for the engagement and consultation work that they undertook, particularly with our Aging Well group. I know that they visited some of the sessions that are run, and they really felt that their voices were heard and that they were listened to. So thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gwilym. If there isn't anybody else, could I ask Mr. Evans to launch the vote, please?
Thank you, Leader. The vote has been launched. And that's unanimous for, Leader.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. We'll move then to agenda item 10, which is the Successful and Sustainable Swansea Corporate Transformation Plan. Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Leader. So I'll just draw out a few points in the report. So firstly, just to advise that the introduction paragraph is taken from the Council's vision of our corporate plan. So just important to flag up that. And so at 1.1, you will see the list of the challenges of achieving the Council's vision that cannot be underestimated in light of the problems listed there. I won't go through all of them, but you won't be surprised to see things like cost of living, reaching net zero, just to highlight just a few. In 1.2, just to flag that the medium-term financial plan predicts further savings of between 40 to 70 million pounds per year by 2026-27. And so it's critically important that this plan not only reflects transformation and innovation in terms of this Council's way forward, but will also recognise any potential savings implications that are linked to this plan. But it's not just about financial savings. It's about us taking and moving the Council forward for the betterment of our residents. So at 1.3, you will see that if the Council is to meet its statutory obligations and deliver on the commitments it has made, then we will need to make significant changes to the Council's operating model, technology, processes and service delivery. In other words, we will need to significantly transform. The background of this is that, and I have to pay credit to Councillor Clive Lloyd, when he was the lead for Sustainable Swansea programme, which ran from 2015-2020. The corporate transformation plan is the next phase of the Council's transformation journey and has been developed under the banner of Successful and Sustainable Swansea, the Council's corporate plan for the next 5 years, and is structured under the 6 corporate priorities contained in the plan. So the plan contains 7 service-specific areas and 5 cross-cutting programmes, all of which will have a long-term impact on service delivery, ways of working, and the financial resilience of the Council. The programmes have also been selected as they are expected to have a significant impact on mitigation of the following risks, which are identified on our corporate risk register as listed in 3.5. Appendix 1 contains a very lengthy and detailed description of each programme, the intended outcomes, the outputs, the benefits, and the governance arrangements. And Appendix 2 contains a high-level plan of the key milestones for delivery, particularly for 23-24. There's a diagram at Appendix 3 of the governance arrangements, but I feel I should point out that each project is linked to each cabinet member. So there will be a head of service or director of service and the lead cabinet member involved in each of the specific projects relating to their cabinet portfolios. Each programme has significant cabinet member oversight, but also the Transformation Delivery Board established will maintain its remit to ensure the delivery of the overall plan and will fulfil this role by scrutinising quarterly performance reports from each of the individual programme boards, and individual programme boards will meet as frequently as required. The Transformation Delivery Board will also be responsible for identifying and managing obstacles to progress and any interdependencies between the programmes. Cabinet and CMT will, Corporate Management Team will review progress against the plan quarterly and will agree any additions to it over time, including those that may be initiated as part of future budget rounds. And a formal progress report will be provided to Cabinet annually. So just in conclusion, to highlight the financial implications, you will see at 6.1 the potential savings identified are around 6.5 million, but with 3 caveats. So there's 3 exceptions to this. Firstly, Cabinet will know you were advised in December 22 the Net Zero programme requires capital investment in excess of £150 million, which will be entirely dependent on Welsh Government funding that has yet to be secured. Secondly, as you introduced the report leader on the Workforce and Organisation Development Programme, subject to a separate funding stream required of 391,000 in the first 2 years. And finally, the Digital Transformation Programme, which will require an initial investment of £2 million in the first 2 years, in the first tranche. So subject to Cabinet approving this report, 2.433 million from the Council's restructure reserve will be set aside to support the delivery of these 2 programmes. The Transformation Delivery Board will keep the programmes under review and may recommend to Cabinet and Corporate Management team that these funds, including any underspends, are reallocated to other programmes accordingly, with regards to any specific unfunded activities within the plan. So it's a working document. We do need to monitor financial spend closely. And it is expected that significant further investment will be required from 26-27. So with that, Leader, I'm happy to move the recommendations and take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Lewis. And again, thank you for bringing this report. And can I thank you and the officers for the work that's been done on it. I just add to what you said in terms of how does this relate back to the pledges and the manifesto that we stood on as an administration and as a party at the 2022 election. And again, this is part of that process of taking those manifesto commitments, turning them into corporate commitments, and then turn them into a corporate plan that actually delivers for the people of Swansea on that. So many of the things you already referenced are pledges that we made to the electorate, to the people of Swansea, and this demonstrates how we will deliver on those. You're quite right to point out as well the massive requirement that government will need to make at all levels in order to meet the net zero targets. And again, we will continue to lobby both Welsh and UK governments to make sure that the necessary investment to meet climate change targets is made available. So I'll come back to you for further comments if you'd like.
Yes, apologies, Leader. It was very remiss of me not to give significant thanks to Ness Young, who's been integral in this strategy, and also my thanks to Sarah Lackenby regarding the digital strategy and this one. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we all support your comments on that and give our thanks to both officers. You've moved the recommendation. I'm happy to second. I'll open it up if any Cabinet members wish to comment or have any questions. Councillor Smith?
Yeah, just want to welcome and endorse the report and welcome this opportunity in terms of the Education Director. There are 2 projects there where I'll be in my name, and I think looking at this, yes, we've got to have our eye on the financial implications, but we are also talking, as the report talks about, service transformation, changing the way we deliver and meet the needs of, in my case, children and young people across Swansea. And I think what we're proposing here is going to go a long way to achieving those objectives and making the provision that we have in Swansea cutting edge and fit for the 21st century.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Gibbard.
Yes, likewise, just wanted to comment on the transformation programmes in both adult and child and family services. And, these are ambitious but really vital programmes to move the services forward, not just for financial and efficiency reasons, but, to really do what matters for the people that we work with, but keeping our key principles about early help, prevention, what matters to people's voice all the way through. So I'm really grateful to all the officers who are driving this forward, and we're making really good progress.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gibbard. Okay, If there aren't any further comments on the report, I'll ask Mr. Evans to launch the vote, please.
Thank you, Leader. The vote has been launched. And that's unanimous for, Leader.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. Next, we have agenda item 11, which is the Leisure Partnerships Annual Report, and I'll take this report in Councillor Francis Davies's absence. The report, as you will see in 1.3, outlines the overview arrangements for the Wales National Pool, leisure centres run by Freedom Leisure, the Plantasia attraction run by Parkwood Leisure, the National Waterfront Museum, and some other high-level information about partnerships. What I would say is, obviously, what we have in this report is a comparison between 2 years, one year 2021, which was essentially in the heart of the pandemic, and then 21-22, which is the year where we're starting to emerge from the pandemic. And as you'll see, there's a theme. I won't go through each chart and table in detail, but the theme there shows that our leisure partnerships were heavily supported during the pandemic and have continued to receive some support as we emerge. Now, they've seen recovery, both in terms of their visitor numbers and in terms of their income during that period, but they are not back yet to fully recovering from the pre-pandemic levels that they saw before the pandemic hit. And of course, what we would expect to see going into next year will be the impacts of the cost of living crisis, because just as the organisations are being supported to recover from the pandemic, they are being hit with the energy impacts and other cost of living crisis impacts. I would just note, as I've said in many other venues, the availability of support to some of these organisations for things like energy simply isn't there, and members will know that over the period we have been temporarily removed by the UK government from receiving support for things like schools and our other services, from energy support. And then when they did finally include us, it was at a time when it didn't have any financial benefit to this authority. So I just point out, as I said earlier, with things like promotional car parking offers and offers for workers in the city centre, we are also deploying local resources to support organisations and institutions across our authority to keep things like the National Pool, to keep things like the National Waterfront Museum and other attractions open and running so that the people of Swansea can enjoy them. That is without the assistance of UK government during these difficult times. So again, we are by far from out of the woods, because we now have to see the impacts of the cost of living crisis, which we will see this time next year in report form. But I can assure members that the council is continuing to support as best we can those organisations to deal with the cost of living crisis during this financial year. But with that, I'll move the report, and I would look for someone to second, please. Councillor King?
Yeah, happy to second, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any comments or questions on the report? If not, it's from information only. Okay. We'll move then to item 12, which is the, let me just get the full title, which is the West Glamorgan Regional Partnership Board Area Plan 23-27. Councillor Gibbard.
Thank you. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the plan. This has been developed by the RPB on the basis of the population needs assessment and the market stability report, which have been carried out recently, and also with a lot of engagement and co-production with statutory partners and third sector partners going forward. So it's already been approved by the RPB. If we approve it today, it will then go on to be approved by the Health Board and submitted to Welsh Government. So it's a very detailed report. I think introduction is all that's necessary, so I'm happy to move.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing this, Councillor Gibbard. I'm happy to second, and can I just thank you for the work you're doing with other members on the RPB to pull together this plan, so thank you. Are there any questions or comments from any members on this? If not, Mr. Evans, if I could ask you to launch the vote.
Thank you, Leader. The vote has been launched. I'm waiting for 2 votes. So Councillor Gibbard, how are you voting? Assume so. It's your report. And who else? And one other miss. Oh no, they've all come in now. That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. That was our last item for today. So can I thank you again for your attendance, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you.